The current assessment is, as you know, we had a big problem in 2008 or so, and then central banks and governments around the world started printing and spending and borrowing. If you give me a few $1 trillion, I'll show you a very good time. I mean, the world economy has been flooded with money and spending since then. America has never gone so deeply in debt so fast as we have done in the last decade, more than a decade now, 13 years. So yes, we're all floating on a bit of artificial stimulation. It always comes to an end, no matter how much you pump into the economy. It seems to be coming to an end. Inflation is coming back, which leads to higher interest rate. And some people are starting to say, wait a minute, this is too much debt. This is absurd. Not everybody. I mean, the Japanese are still doing it. Yeah. But some people are starting to question how much more we can do. So you know it's going to come to an end eventually in the form of another bear market. And you remember 2008? We had a big problem because of too much debt. Well, Adam, look out the window. Since 2009, the debt everywhere has skyrocketed. The world has never seen anything like this accumulation of increase in debt. So the next bear market has to be the worst in my lifetime. I mean, it's simple arithmetic. The debt has skyrocketed everywhere. It's going to lead to a problem someday, and maybe today is someday. Some good news, and it may already be here. They will start talking about and even acting on slowing down. It sounds like they're going to slow down for a while because they think things are better, and they may be, at least on paper. But eventually, Adam, they're going to print money till we run out of trees. That's what all they know. If there start to be a lot of bankruptcies or even a few bankruptcies, they will get phone calls from people saying, you must save us. This is a matter of Western civilization. You must save us. They will panic and they will print more money. I don't think that in the history of the world, many central banks have said, too bad, guys. It's time for a lot of bankruptcies. Go down the tubes. That's not the way bureaucrats think. At the time said to Paul Volcker, who he was going to appoint as, he did appoint as head of the Federal Reserve. Volcker was a bureaucrat, but Volcker understood the situation. And Carter said to Volcker, you do whatever you have to do and I will support you. Mm-hmm. Now, Volcker didn't believe him at first, but Carter reassured him. Don't think that there's a policy unlimited amounts of money. banks first to things like mortgages because it we had debts, but it was on balance. Sorted all this out. For many people. Since then, the debt has gone up by astonishing amounts. You cited some numbers before. Pick any numbers you want. They're terrifying. And it's continuing to get worse every day. So the next time we have a problem, I mean, Adam, it's just simple addition. Look out the window. The debt is skyrocketing everywhere. So the next problem has to be very, very bad. And it'll be the worst in my lifetime. And I'm older than you, so it'll be the worst in your lifetime, too. I didn't say it'd be the worst in the world, the worst in history, or anything like that. I just said in my lifetime. You know, we've had 3 central banks in American history, Adam, as you know. The first 2 disappeared. This one is probably going to disappear too eventually because they keep making such horrible mistakes. So, but if I were doing it, I would get rid of the central bank. I'd let the market determine interest rates as it has in the past, and the world somehow survived. Yes, we had recessions, but we've had recessions since the beginning of time. In the Old Testament, they talked about 7 good years and 7 lean years. Mm-hmm. You know, you and I are not the first people to know that we have hard times sometimes in the world and in history. It's been going on for many decades, many centuries. Well, I just want to go, you keep talking about high interest rates. Adam, these interest rates in the United States in 2022, by historic standards, are not high. They're higher than they were a year ago, but look back at the history of America, the history of any country, but since we're Americans, these are not high interest rates in American history. So they have the scope and the historic precedent to go much, much higher, which I suspect they will, for the reasons that we've discussed. And that will have a dramatic effect on housing. We have had a huge amount of home building. in the last decade or so. I don't have the numbers at hand, but I know everybody has been building houses. Some would call that a bubble, but even if it's not a bubble, it has certainly been a boom. And when that comes to an end, if your house goes down in price, it doesn't affect you too badly unless you have to sell or something. But then when your neighbors' houses start going down and your relatives' houses start going down, then you really feel the pressure, because if I have to sell or whatever wealth I thought I had, I don't have anymore. And then people everywhere start talking about it, because, one of the things that many people talk about are property prices, house prices. And if they start going down, it's going to be high on their list of things to talk about, much higher than the football game. If everybody's house price is going down, everybody's going to talk about it and moan and complain, which leads to more pessimism.